Day 312 of the Daily Stoic. How to be powerful. Quote, "Don't trust in your reputation, money, or position, but in the strength that is yours, namely your judgments about the things that you can control and don't control. For this alone is what makes us free and unfettered, that picks us up by the neck from the depths and lifts us eye to eye with the rich and powerful." Epictetus Discourses 3.26.34-35. In a scene in Stephen Pressfield's classic novel about Alexander the Great, The Virtues of War, Alexander reaches a river crossing only to be confronted by a philosopher who refuses to move. Quote, "This man has conquered the world," one of Alexander's men shouts. "What have you done?" The philosopher responds, with complete confidence, "I have conquered the need to conquer the world." We do know that Alexander did clash with Diogenes the Cynic, a philosopher known for his rejection of what society prizes and, by extension, Alexander's self-image. Just in Pressfield's fictional encounter, in Diogenes' real confrontation with Alexander, the philosopher was more powerful than the most powerful man in the world, because, unlike him, Diogenes has fewer wants. They were able to look at each other in the eye and see who really had control over himself, who had achieved the self-mastery required for real and lasting power. You can have that too. It just means focusing inward on acquiring power rather than outward. As Publius Syrus said, himself a former slave, "Would you have a great empire? Rule over yourself." I really enjoy reading passages like today's, Day 312 of the Daily Stoic, How to be Powerful. I love reading things like this because they are so galvanizing, they're so encouraging, they're so inspiring to me, at least the way that I read it. And the reason is because I feel like I've overcome so many of these things, right? What is Epictetus says, "Don't trust in your reputation, money, or position, but in the strength that is yours. Namely, your judgments about things that you can control and don't control." This self-awareness that I have about the realities of life and that I don't control pretty much 99.9% of anything in life. The only thing that I can control is the effort I put into the work that I do and the longevity and discipline and hustle and grit to continue to persevere on what I want to do and want to achieve. That is the only thing that I can truly control in life. But at the end of the day, I have realized, now I'm in my 40s, I don't know where you are in your life, but I have realized that things don't make me happy, and money doesn't make me happy, and more collections of things don't make me happy. And the reason is actually very functional. The more stuff that you have, the more risk exposure you have. Just let that sit in for a second. Let that sink in to your gut. The more you have, the more risk exposure you have. Or said differently, the more you have, the more attack vectors you have in life. Think about that. If you have one thing, there's only one way that people can attack you. If you have 5 things, if you have 10 things, if you have many things, then there are many ways people can attack you. And for me, controlling my life, or taking and having better control over my life, is actually a function of how many things I don't want to control, or how many things I don't have. The less I have, the less risk I have. The less I have, the less risk exposure I have. The less that I have, the less attack vectors I have on my life. This allows me, without all these distractions and things, to have mastery over self, which is why this excites me. Because I'm a big fan of mastery over self. If you want to conquer the world, my friends, conquer this. Conquer this flesh bot, this hunk of flesh that you got. This hunk of flesh that's moving around and doing stuff according to your prefrontal cortex. You can have real power. You can actually have such real power that when people see you and they meet you, they're astounded at how put together you are, how self-assured you are. how solid you are. And in many cases, those individuals that you meet who are solid, who've got all their stuff put together, they have not only mastered themselves, but they are men and women who don't have lots of wants, and they certainly don't have lots of things. Consider the ease of life you could have if you remove all the waste and all the excess, all the consumption, all the things. Maybe, just maybe, you could have enough time to focus on self and become the better, virtuous self that the Stoics are always talking about. See you in Discord, MetaFam.